Hi, and welcome to this 30-minute yoga practice. I'm Andrea. It's so great to have you join me. Sometimes the chair is a little bit more optional than others. Today is one of those days where I'm going to say, have your chair. Have your chair nearby. I'm standing on a yoga mat. If you don't have one, it's okay. A carpeted area is going to be fine for you. And I think it's best if you position either your mat or just your vision towards me. I'll be moving my mat around. You don't need to move yours. I'm moving mine so that you can best see me. And I think you'll best see me if you're facing forward. A couple of other tricks up my sleeve in terms of props. A couple of blocks. So if you have some sturdy books, maybe. A folded towel or perhaps the throw blanket from your couch. I'm barefoot. If you're more comfortable in shoes, that's okay too. Once you're ready, let's get started standing at the front edge of your mat with your feet hip distance apart in a Tadasana. Turn your palms away from one another. Add a little bit of bend to your knees. As you're standing tall, lean your head back. We'll stop here so that we can start. Life swirls around us even when we press pause to do a little yoga. So let's press pause and turn the arrows of attention inward instead of distractedly outward. Let's dedicate these 30 minutes to our inner landscape. Maybe close your eyes here to really climb inward, to remind yourself that this yoga practice is an inside game. As your breath draws in and out through your nose, see if you can expand on it. Make the inhales a little bit deeper, wider. Pause for a moment when you're full. And then a complete exhale, pausing for a moment when you're empty. 3 stop before we start moments here. Adding on from our mountain. Inhale, arms out to the side, a V shape overhead, and then exhale, just let your arms float alongside your body. One more time, inhale, V shape overhead. Exhale, float the arms alongside you. Adding on, inhale, arms out to the side, a V shape overhead. Exhale, hinge at the hips and bring your hands to the crease of your thighs. Inhale, grow long, tractioning your hands against your thighs and your heart forward, but not shrugging your shoulders into your ears. Exhale, a little bit more crease at the hip. And then inhale, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky in a V shape. Float your arms alongside your body. Again, like that. Inhale, arms out and up, a V shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips and bring your hands to the crease of your thighs. Inhale, traction, a little bit more uplift of your heart, and then exhale, fold just a little. We never want our head lower than our hips here, and then inhale, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, V shape. Float your arms along your side. Now this time, bend your knees, V shape overhead, a chair pose is our inhale, and then exhale, stand and float the arms alongside you. Twice more, just like that. Inhale, chair pose with a V shape. And then exhale, stand, arms along your side. Last one. Inhale, V shape, chair pose. Exhale, stand, arms alongside you. We'll combine those two. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, hands to thighs. Inhale, heart extends forward. Exhale, a little more hinge at your hips. Keep the bend in your knees. Inhale the arms to the sky, V-shaped chair, and then stand into your mountain. Fantastic. Again, bend your knees, chair pose, inhale. Exhale, a little hinge at the hips. Take your hands to the crease of your thighs and inhale your heart forward. Exhale, increase the hinge at the hips a bit. Inhale, arms out to the side, chair pose, and then exhale, stand into your mountain. Once more, bend the knees. Inhale, chair. Exhale, fold at the hips just a smidge, and then hands to your thighs as you inhale your heart forward. Exhale, a little bit more hip hinge. Keep your knees bent. Inhale, arms out to the side, a V shape, and then exhale, stand into your mountain. This is where we bring our chair into the mix. So have your chair right at the front of your space. I don't want to be chair in front of my space or you won't see me. So I'm at a little bit of an angle here. You can face me directly. And then find your mountain facing your chair. Inhale, V shape overhead as we've done. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs. Inhale, heart forward. Bring your hands to the base of your chair. This is going to take a little bit of experimenting with spacing. So, for example, I know that my chair needs to be closer to me. Maybe yours does too. Start to put some oomph into your arms and step back into puppy dog, which is basically like a little bit of a down dog feeling without our head getting lower than our hips. So that's still super important. But you'll start to press into your arms, spin the inner upper arms away from each other. So what we're not looking for is this kind of a collision, right? Press into your hands, spin the inner upper arms away from each other, lift your low belly towards your spine, and start to sink your heels down. But there is a little emphasis of arm strength. That's going to come in handy when you plank me very much later. You'll see what I mean. Walk your feet hip distance apart, hands to your thighs. Inhale your heart forward and then exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, reach, thumbs to the sky, V shape, and then stand into the elegance of your mountain. We'll add our chair pose to our puppy dog. Inhale, chair pose, thumbs to the sky. Exhale, a little fold at the hips. Inhale, your heart grows forward. Hands to the base of your chair. Slowly walk back so you find your own personal sweet spot, pressing your hands strongly into the base of your chair. Low belly lifts, maybe a little soft bend in your knees. Inner upper arms spin away so there's no collapse. And we're also cautious that it's not a slick place for your chair where you feel like you've lost control of it. So a few things to keep track of. Pause for 2 silent moments here. With a lift to your belly, walk forward, feet are hip distance, hands to the crease of your thighs. Inhale your heart forward and then exhale, increase the hinge at your hip a little. Inhale, arms out to the side, V shape overhead, and then float the arms alongside you. One more time, bend your knees, chair pose, inhale. Hands to thighs, inhale your heart forward. Hands to the base of your chair. Puppy dog as we step it back and pause. Really press your hands into the base of the chair. Organize it so we're not shrugging shoulders into ears. Low belly is lifting. Sip the silence for 2 moments here. So great. Walk your feet hip distance. We'll slip in a chair pose this time. Bend your knees, chair pose, thumbs to the sky. Hands to your thighs. Inhale the heart forward. Exhale, keeping your knees bent, hinge at your hips. Stay with your chair. I know it's sort of a longer chair than you might have thought. Thumbs to the sky. And then stand into your mountain. You will want your chair, possibly want your blocks for the next part. So I realize there's a little bit of equipment, but you can always just use your chair if that serves you better. Notice the positioning of my blocks, tall on either side of my mat. So if you're using your blocks or your books, You want them within reach, but not in your way. And then stand with your feet hip distance. Turn the palms away from each other. Bend your knees, inhale to chair, thumbs to the sky. Exhale, hip hinge, hands to the crease. Inhale your heart forward. Puppy dog, hands to the base of your chair. Step back and pause. Pressing your hands into the base of your chair. 2 moments where we are. And you might really just prefer to keep your hands on the base of your chair. It's the perfect way to do it. Let's get into it that way together. Step your right foot forward, and you'll have to scooch your back foot a little bit for a lunge. And there's no reason why staying just like this isn't perfect. It could be that you take your hands to those tall blocks, but all of us are long through the spine. None of us are collapsing our head lower than our hips. And it feels like you're steering your right hip back and your left hip forward. We take just a couple more moments here in a lunge position. Low belly is lifting, that's important. In a way, this feels like the makings of a plank. You might not see that yet, but you will as we go. Bring your hands to the base of your chair and step your left foot hip distance from your right foot. Chair pose, bend your knees, V shape overhead. Hinge at your hips and bring your hands to the tops of your thighs. Inhale your heart forward. Exhale, fold it back in, and then chair pose on the way out. Thumbs to the sky, V shape, and stand into your mountain. Great. Second side of that. Bend your knees for a chair. Inhale. Hinge at your hips and start to bring your hands to your thighs. Inhale, heart extends as we traction. Hands come to the base of your chair and we step back to our puppy dog. Take your time, get a little bit of oomph happening in your arms. Low belly is lifting. Nobody's shoulders are consuming their ears. 2 moments. We'll enter it with our hands on the base of our chair. Left foot steps forward. Right foot will need to scooch a little bit so that you feel a stance where the porridge is just right. And there's nothing wrong with keeping your hands like puppy dog on the base of your chair, using a little bit of that pressing of your arms to lift your heart. Or you can relocate your hands to your blocks. Left hip drawing back and right hip drawing forward. And then I will give you a moment to sip the silence and the stillness here. Beautiful movement meditation. Well done. Firm through your feet and through your belly. I prefer my hands on the base of my chair for this transition. Right foot hip distance from left foot, Bend your knees, chair pose, V shape overhead. Exhale, you hinge at the hip and your hands locate to your thighs. Inhale, your heart forward. Exhale, a little more hinge at the hip. Chair pose on the way out, thumbs to the sky, and then stand into the majesty of your mountain. We'll take a little sun salutation ultimately to bring us to the floor. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to thighs. Inhale, heart forward. Maybe it's helpful to use your chair or blocks to come to the ground. And then you'll want to make sure that your props are not going to be in your way. So I'll move my chair a bit. You might do the same. And I'm going to take my blocks out of the way also. So if you were using those, probably good to have them out of your way. And then we're coming all the way onto our belly. Once you're on your belly, bring your forearms onto your mat. Press into the tops of your feet. In fact, you can run this experiment. Lift your low belly away from the ground. Press into the tops of your feet until maybe your kneecaps come off the ground. That's how energetic your legs are. Traction your elbows towards you and then just draw your chest through that gateway of your arms. We're not doing this with our neck, so you can think chin parallel to the ground And it's just a gentle encouragement of a little bit of what would eventually maybe be an upward facing dog or cobra in what's called a vinyasa in vinyasa style yoga. Now lower down, enough that you can bring your elbows about an inch towards you. Curl your toes under, lift your chest, your belly, your hips, your thighs. You can leave your knees down or play with bringing your knees off the ground. It's a karate chop with your forearms and your hips are not sagging lower than your shoulders. And then bring your knees to your mat, thighs to your mat, hips to your mat. Uncurl the toes. Remember when we were pressing with all that energy into our feet? Drag your chest to the gateway of your arms. Right, one more time. We'll come into that forearm plank. Curl your toes under, lift your chest, your hips, your thighs. You can linger the knees down or lift your knees off your mat. The non-negotiable is that you're breathing the whole time, right? Perfect. Bring your knees to your mat, thighs to your mat, hips to your mat, belly to your mat. Uncurl the toes, and here we are in our Sphinx pose once again. Probably many of us will stay with Sphinx, and I think it's perfect. Some of you lower down and relocate your hands next to your floating ribs. Those are the bottommost ribs. Now, if that means that things are struggling in your neck, then I think you're going to stick with the Sphinx pose, which I think is a great place to be. If it's working with your hands where they are, bring your elbows just to slightly brush against your ribs so they're not winging out to the side. And then traction with your hands the way that we did our forearms, and let your chest glide through the gateway of your arms and your chin stay parallel to the ground. You got to lift your low belly so we're not taxing the low back, and then get that oomph in the legs that we found. Either you're in Sphinx or in Cobra right now. 2 more moments, really great. And just lower down enough that we can start to make our way into a child's pose, which is the perfect counter pose for all that, what's called extension through the spine. So I like my knees pretty wide. Sit back. You don't have to get your hips to your heels. You don't have to get your forehead onto the ground. Just find a little place to curl up with yourself. It's 3 moments, just like this. And then come to hands and knees. You might want to slip your blanket underneath your knees. So the forearm plank was kind of like the first plank you very much from me. And this is the second. So you want to be mindful and have your hands underneath your shoulders. So not forward where we're going to shrug shoulders into ears, and not so close to you that it's too much of that action, or it's called extension in your wrist. And then imagine that your hands are in mud, and really work all of your fingers into that mud, especially the inner part of your hand. As you push into the ground, we're not sagging in between the shoulder blades, and the low belly is lifting. Now take your left leg back behind you and just flirt with a plank. So the toes are curled under. We have all that alignment in the upper body, low belly lifting, and we're breathing the whole time. Really great. And then put your left knee on the ground and step your right foot as if to stand in a plank with one leg. Now, check out what's happening in the upper body. Push the ground away, keep breathing. It's just like our forearm plank, except that now your hands are in the clay. And then bend your right knee. We're on all fours. If ever you need to sit back and do some of this stuff with your wrists, by all means, take the breaks you need. Just know that when you come back, you want to have your hands in the clay and your shoulders over your wrists. Now, left leg steps back behind you. Stay like this, or add the right foot stepping back. One way to modify a plank is to keep this alignment, but just let your knees come to the ground, like you might have been doing in your forearm plank, but we're still shoulders over the wrists. Then bring Right knee down and left knee down. We're on all fours, and some of us might want to do some of this stuff. Yeah? Great. One more time. Fantastic planks. Shoulders over wrists. Right leg steps back. Push into the ground and make sure your upper body is aligned the way you want it to be and that your low belly is lifting. And then, totally optional, left leg also joins the fun. Maybe you carefully bring your knees down, no matter which position we're in, low belly lifting, hands pressing, breath steady. So good. Left knee to the ground, right knee to the ground, child's pose for a moment, and I'm guessing a little wrist release would hit the spot. So in that vinyasa that I was saying is part of the vinyasa style of yoga, the plank is a big player. So are those back bends that you did on your belly. So well done. We're putting the recipe together. 2 more moments here, snuggled up in your child's pose. And then come seated. We'll fold up our blanket so that the cross-legged seat feels a little bit more comfortable. Once you're seated, just so we're all on the same page, cross your right shin in front of your left shin. And it's not crossed at ankles, but actually at the shin. And then let's just do this for our little wrists. Bring the backs of your hands together, gently press. Two moments here. And then just little circles one direction, sitting tall, feeling a little hip stretch while we let our wrists release. And then turn them the other way, just rotate the other way. Settle your hands up or down on your lap. Drink it in for a moment. You did a lot of really wonderful, rigorous work. Allow it to settle into stillness now. Inhale, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky. Turn to your right, and then drop your left hand to the outside of your right thigh. Every inhale, grow a bit taller. Every exhale, just a sweet little twist, little rotation through your spine. We'll stay for a few moments, just as we are. And then slowly unwind, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, V shape, turn to your left, and then drop your right hand outside your left thigh. Inhale, grow tall. And exhale. We stay here for a few quiet moments. Gently unwind. Take a look at your legs. We'll recross with the left shin in front. If you'd like to wiggle them or release them in any way in between sides, then be my guest. Once you get settled in, once again, palms up or down. Now just think of our mountain pose, and from the waist up, embody your mountain. Chin parallel to the ground, sort of like our conversations and our back bends, and maybe there's even the tiniest hint of one of those back bends in the shoulder blade area of your spine. So the hunch that becomes habit has given way to a smile with your heart. Now, if you're comfortable, close your eyes. Make your way into the inner landscape. And remind yourself that this practice is an inside job. Some tools that are helpful are to pay attention to your breath and to feel all the feels. Let yourself feel wherever it's sticky and tight in your legs. Feel the uplift of your spine and your heart, and the rise and the fall of your breath. A full minute here. So great. That was a full minute of meditation. Congratulations. Now just lean back and let this cross of your legs go. Come off of your prop if you're like me and on one, and then lie down on your back with your feet hip distance apart. Once you've found your way onto your back, step your feet as wide as your mat. And like a set of windshield wipers, just let both knees drop gently over to your right and pause. And then come back through center and let your set of windshield wipers go over to the left and pause here. And then come to center and either stay here with your knees falling in on one another, or if your lower back is comfortable with it, straighten one leg and then the other leg into our final Shavasana meditation, the ultimate inside job. Fall into the floor if you're comfortable, close your eyes, maybe even cover them. A full minute together here. You're welcome to stay here in your Shavasana final meditation for as long as you'd like. If you're ready, gently move fingers and toes and maybe even stretch your arms and legs away from each other. Gather up your knees into your chest. Roll carefully to either side. And then bring yourself up to any comfortable seat, maybe even our cross-legged seat we just found together. Palms up or down in your lap. And then plank you, or thank you for practicing with me today. I'm Andrea. It's always such a joy to practice with you, and I look forward to us doing it again soon.